Hello and welcome to the Decent Wrestling Show, episode 2. Yes, I made it 2 episodes, so I think that deserves a round of applause. I'll let you do that, and there we go. So in this episode, I'm going to talk about a couple of matches that I watched, a couple from AJW, and I watched an old WCW match. Gonna answer a couple of questions that I got. I only got 3 questions this week. Again, don't know if it's going to be weekly, but we'll see. I'll try. I will try. I'm also going to talk about Raw and a couple other things that I want to touch on as well. So we get straight into the episode. I'm actually going to start with the announcement that hopefully I will be doing superstar ratings again. I used to do it ages ago. It was one of the first series I started, and then I got lazy and couldn't be bothered. The superstar ratings Utami video that I began working on, and it's been like a year. Still haven't finished it. Don't know if I will ever finish it. So I'm going to do it on podcast form because I don't have to do loads of editing that just takes way too much time to do. So it will be returning on here soon, newly revamped with new leaderboard and everything. So that will be starting soon. Also, it was Senna's birthday. I don't know if this is going out today or tomorrow, but it was either today or yesterday. It was Senna Shiori's birthday. Now, if you don't know, Senna Shiori is my favourite Joshi wrestler of all time. She's just the absolute best. The reason that I became such a huge fan of her was just, it was through the match against Hikari Noah. It was a pay-per-view match. The first ever TJPW pay-per-view on OpenRec. And she had a match with Hikari Noah. It went about 5 minutes, 5-6 minutes. But it was such a beautifully told match. And Senna Shiori showed her determination. And, there was the moment when she was in a submission and she willed herself back to the ropes. She kept getting knocked down, but she kept getting back up and fighting. Then she got Hikari in the Boston Crab, nearly made her tap out, and I was just pulling for her the whole time. Really, really made me a huge fan of Senna in that match, and my fandom for her grew since then. And then it was sad to see her graduate earlier this year, but there is a little part of me, a little hope that maybe one day she'll return. She's only 20 years old now, so she's got plenty of time to return in the future, and hopefully when she's healthy that she might be able to return. But it's still nice to see her. She is back on social media with a private account. I believe it's at Senna Dobby. Yeah, it's nice to see her back, and it was her birthday, so go wish her a belated happy birthday if you haven't already. So I recently released the Wakatsukiyama MV onto this YouTube channel, as I've just surpassed 500 subscribers. Just past 500. The road to 1,000 by the end of the decade. Let's go. But yeah, 500... I was stuck on 10 for like ages and ages, like 10, 11 subscribers. So it's crazy to hit 500 subscribers now. It's actually insane to think about. And thank you to every single person who subscribed. So yeah, as I was talking before I got sidetracked again, that will happen a lot, is that Wakatsukiyama actually watched the video and enjoyed it, so that was really cool to see. She just left Actress Girls. I'm excited to see where she goes, whether she goes to Stardom, TJPW, is a freelancer, maybe a different promotion, we'll see, but she's going to do great wherever she goes. Apparently she's got a new attire as well, so that's going to be interesting to see, and she's going to really focus on wrestling. She's going to make that a bigger part of her life, which is awesome to hear. and I really can't wait. I expect big things from her, and I know she will not disappoint us. So let's get on to the bulk of everything, and that is the Monday Night Raw review. Now, I know a lot of people hate it, but it is what it is. You know, if I hated it, I wouldn't watch it. But, you know, it is what it is. But I watched Raw this week, and for the most part, I think at the start of the year, it was good. Then it was just, recently it's been okay-ish, passable, not always great. But this week was really good. I really enjoyed pretty much most of the show for what it was. And the thing is, it's a variety show. It's not going to be for everyone. Some people just want wrestling. I don't really care for that. Some people just want story, which, cool, but I also do want a little bit of wrestling thrown in there as well. So I like a variety, you know, have comedy in it as well. Not everything has to be serious. Some comedy thrown in as well is always good to see. So I'm going to talk about, there was 2 things I wasn't a huge fan of, 2 things I was on, but the rest of the show I really enjoyed, especially the fun overarching story with RK Bro. Randy Orton returned to Monday Night Raw. Then Matt Riddle came out. Oh, sorry, just Riddle. You could have let him keep his Matt Riddle. It's fine. Like, with some people I understand. Alexander Rusev to Rusev, fine. Antonio Cesaro to Cesaro, fine. Big E Langston to Big E, fine. I get those. But, really? What's wrong with Matt Riddle? I'm just going to call him Matt Riddle, okay? But yeah, RK Bro and these two have such great chemistry. Riddle's been absolutely killing it on Raw since he got called up. You know, he's an example of someone who's come up to Monday Night Raw and he's just been his same character he was in NXT, maybe turned up a little bit more. Because his character does feel like it's him just put up 100, you know? Put up 100%. Which are always the best characters in wrestling, is when it's real, but just turned up a little bit, turn up the volume. And that's what I feel with Riddle, and that's why he's so entertaining, and it doesn't hurt that he's a terrific wrestler in the ring as well. But the chemistry between him and Orton is great, and then when Orton was basically saying that RK Bro was over, poor Riddle, and everyone felt sad for Riddle in the audience. Everyone loved RK Bro, and then Styles and Omos came out. AJ Styles is AJ Styles is hilarious now when he goes, no cap, and he's twice now, he's had to explain what it means as well. Uncool AJ Styles is great. But it's set up AJ Styles versus Orton for late in the night, and we got an interview with Orton and Riddle also throughout the night. Riddle's sad about RK Bro being over, Orton saying he's going to go on his own, but then by the end of the night, it looked like RK Bro reformed. And then Orton gave Riddle an RKO, so, they're broken up again. But then him and Riddle are both smiling. So, in a weird way, in a Randy Orton way, RK Bro looks like they're going to be going for the tag titles at SummerSlam. And I hope they win, because I want to see more RK Bro. And then eventually, obviously, they're going to split up and have the match. And I'm sure Orton will put Riddle over. And that'll be a great platform for Riddle. So on top of that, we also had Baron Corbin, whose new character of the desperate Corbin, you know, poor, everything's been taken away from him. You know, he's having, I guess, to become a better person slightly. I'm hoping to see more with him and Kevin Owens. I would actually love to see more interaction between those two, because the little interaction they had previously has been really good, and I think that would give something Kevin to do. It would give something for Kevin to do, and I think it would be a really interesting, cool story to see, like a sort of revival for Baron Corbin. I don't know if this is leading to him turning face or he's still going to be heel, But I think in this way, I think Baron Corbin can become a face. I think he can. And Corbin's a super talented dude, really good in the ring. He gets a lot of flack, mainly because he's a damn good heel. But yeah, Corbin is really good, and he had a match with Drew McIntyre. Basically, Jinder. The story is that Jinder paid Corbin to come to Raw to face Drew, and of course Corbin needs money, so he's going to accept it. But yeah, they had a really good match, as they usually do. Drew and Corbin have good chemistry in the ring. And of course Drew McIntyre won, as you'd expect, and as he should. But it continues on with Corbin, who I'm loving his character. And I'm always excited to see Corbin on the screen now. Because he did get a bit stale eventually as a heel. So I'm happy with this new development in his character. And I'm looking forward to see where it goes in the future. All the United States Championship title stuff was good. Sheamus Ricochet, really good match, as you'd expect. And Sheamus wins because he's the champion, he has to win, usually. And that's another thing, is that people do say that, let's say if a champion loses on TV, I think while the champion usually should win, I don't think it's awful for the champion to lose because if the person challenging him is then going to have a title match. You know, so let's say Priest beats Sheamus. I think that's fine, because then that gives you the sort of drama in the match that, hey, he could beat him, he's beaten him before. He can beat him. And you can really play that into the story. I guess it really depends how it's played into the story, whether it can work or not. But if it's just like a throwaway tag match where, you know, the champion gets pinned, the United States champion gets pinned by the person going for the world title, and there's no follow-up on that, that's when it's like, champion shouldn't be pinned in that situation. But in a situation of a feud, I think it can be fine. But in the case of Sheamus versus Ricochet, Ricochet's not having a match for the US title, so it makes sense Sheamus would win here. And then John Morrison, Damien Priest had a really interesting match. And the thing with John Morrison is he's very unique in the ring. A bit sloppy at times and a bit awkward at times, but it's because he's trying different things every match. And that really intrigues me, and that gets me hooked to watch each John Morrison match. And on top of that, his puns with water. I'm a sucker for a good pun, and they are hilarious. Never a dull moment with John Morrison on the microphone recently, which is completely different to his first run in WWE, when you just wouldn't want him near a microphone. Just wrestle, don't talk, because he sucked at promos in his first run. But he's much more comfortable on the mic now, which is great to see he's developed. But yeah, it's going to be Sheamus versus Damien Priest at SummerSlam. That's going to be a hell of a match. I'm not sure who I want to win, because I'm really liking Sheamus as US champion. I think Sheamus still has could have a long title reign, but also Damien Priest winning at SummerSlam, that would be huge for him. And considering he had a big match at WrestleMania, that would show that he's done pretty much well on the main roster since he's been called up, so for a good sort of 4 or 5 months. Minus he was off TV for a little bit because he had an injury, I believe. But yeah, I enjoyed the US title stuff with Sheamus, Morrison, and Miz seems to have recovered from his injury now, so it shouldn't be too long before he's back in the ring, which is good to see, because Miz is a terrific performer. Then we move on to Karrion Kross beating Jeff Hardy. That weird moment when Jeff beat Kross in Kross's debut. Some people, obviously it wasn't like a burial or anything. It's just a bit weird. Like, that's something you do after like the 3rd or 4th week. You know, you have Kross beat a jobber, then he beats another jobber, then he meets a more established person, and then Jeff gets a sneak win up, and that sets up a feud between them two. That I would understand. That would be like, okay, that's fair enough. They're setting up a feud between these two. But just to do it on his debut doesn't really make a lot of sense. But this time around, Kross beat Jeff. Jeff obviously got a good amount of offense in. But it was a decent match. Happy Kross won. And I'm hoping he continues on bigger things. Either on NXT, on Raw, or on both. Who says he needs to be on one or the other? He's Karrion Kross, he does what he wants. and I think he should be a future world champion, maybe even next year. I'm a huge Karrion Kross fan, by the way. Some of his matches in NXT have been absolutely phenomenal. He had a great match with Damien Priest, Santos Escobar, the no DQ match, terrific stuff. Great matches against Keith Lee and Finn Balor versus Karrion Kross. Because usually, sometimes with like they have a big match in Takeover, they have the rematch after. They had it with Cole O'Reilly and with Cole and Balor. And sometimes, like, usually with those, the rematch is just kind of nowhere near as good as the first match. But in Kross and Balor's case, both matches were terrific in their own right, told their own stories, and I enjoyed both of them a hell of a lot. Those two have great chemistry in ring, and I do want to see them face up one more time in the future. And also Kross's match with Gargano was terrific as well. That ending to that was phenomenal. Man, Kross is just such like a badass character. And I genuinely don't get the hate for him. A lot of people hate him, and I have no idea why. Like they go, oh, he's generic, but then they're going, oh, Finn Balor's this greatest wrestler of all time. It's like, Finn Balor, if you think Karrion Kross is generic, then Finn Balor is even more generic. You know? But the thing is, neither of them are generic. Both are great in their own right. Both do their own things. Karrion Kross is an attraction. He's there. He's a big badass. Tons of charisma as he comes down to the ring. He looks cool, looks menacing, brings intensity, and has great matches. What's wrong with that? I don't see the problem. Anyway, rant over. Ali versus TBar. I'm actually, when the first couple of times we saw Mansoor, he had a great match with Cesaro, but then after that it was kind of meh. It was kind of mid. But I'm actually really enjoying Ali and Mansoor as a team. I think they can go somewhere. I think they should be given more opportunities. Ali and Mansoor, they actually have really nice chemistry with each other, and I'm really liking their tag team so far. And this was actually a really good match between TBar and Ali. Although, with TBar and Mace, I still think we should... I miss Dominik Dijakovic, you know what I mean? I want Dominik Dijakovic versus Keith Lee on the main roster. I want that to happen. Mace is fine, and like Mace and TBar, if Dominik Dijakovic wasn't a thing, Mace and TBar like just debuting out of nowhere, I would be okay with. I'd be fine with it. But it's just the fact that we know Dijakovic is possible of so much more. I don't know Mace's potential. He was only a commentator, decent commentator, for a while. Had the thing with Brock, which was really awesome. But and in the ring, he's fine. Yeah, he's nothing amazing, but he's fine. But yeah, back on topic. This was a really good match between these two. TBar won, but Mansoor saved Ali after the match. And hopefully they continue as a tag team. I think they have a good future as a tag team. Hopefully. And the final thing I liked was finally the 24/7 title, after months of really not doing anything, finally seems to be getting back on TV a bit more, which is good to see. Obviously, R-Truth is king in these segments, but Reginald, he wasn't really doing much as like Carmella's connoisseur. I don't know what it's called. But some wine tasting, whatever crap, I don't know. But yeah, he wasn't great as that. Wasn't great as Nia and Shayna's manager. But now, in this role, it's great because he can do his Cirque du Soleil flips, and it's cool, and you can do a lot of parkour. I would love to see Reginald versus John Morrison. That would be an interesting match. Or segments backstage between them two. So I think you can do a little interaction with them. And yeah, Reginald's fun in this role. You know, I don't see much future for him as like a singles competitor in the ring, so I think this is probably his level where he can be like a Crash Holly sort of type. This can be his sort of thing. A couple of the okay things was MVP and Lashley's promo for the match with Goldberg. It was solid, you know, technically nothing wrong with it. It was just sort of filler. It was like, okay, decent promo. MVP's great on the mic, of course, and Lashley's fine. But yeah, it was fine. Nothing amazing. And then we had the Alexa Bliss Doudrop match. I think they should go harder on the supernatural stuff. Now, I know that will annoy Twitter, but I don't care. I love the supernatural stuff. I think you should go more into it rather than just dipping your toe into it. Go full crazy. Go absolutely insane. Like the stuff with Shayna and the cheesy horror stuff backstage. I absolutely loved that. More cheesy horror. Go full Lucha Underground like stuff. I want that sort of stuff. I want more of that in wrestling. More supernatural, more crazy, more outlandish. Not everything has to be serious, you know? And the thing is, it can still be relatable. Like, you can still have relatable things in this supernatural stuff, you know? But anyway, rant over again. A lot of rants today. Don't know why. Maybe I'm just angry. Couple of downs is Elias seems to be changing his character, and I'm not sure. I'm going to give it a chance, obviously. You should give everything a chance. But I liked heel Elias, and I liked his songs. I thought his album was really good. So, we'll see what happens, but I don't have high hopes for Elias. But we'll see. He's a talented guy, so let's see what happens. I'll give it a chance, but I'm not looking forward to it. And then the women's title stuff, it's just... I really want to like Nikki Ash, but it's just too preachy. It's just too preachy for me. And I'm just not hugely invested into it. The triple threat match, we'll see how it is. It could be a good match, but it's not something I'm hyped for. So that's Raw. I enjoyed it. I'm sure everyone will disagree with me, but hey, I had fun watching it. So, you know, I do me, I guess. Couple other things. I watched a couple of old AJW matches. I watched Jungle Jack, which was Arja Kong and Bison Kimura, take on, I believe, Bull Nakano and Kyoko Inoue in a tag team hair versus hair match. Terrific match between these two. A lot of intensity, a lot of drama, a lot on the line as well. But I will mention one thing. A lot of sloppiness, a lot of botches. But did it matter? No, because it doesn't matter if you're a bit sloppy, you do a couple of botches. It's how you recover from it and how you tell a story and how you tell the drama in the match made up for it. You know? Like, you're going to see people go, oh, you know, Bull Nakano was a terrible wrestler. No. What, because some of his moves were sloppy? Or Kyoko Inoue missed a couple of springboards. I guess she's a bad wrestler now. You see, it just doesn't work. So, you know, you criticise a couple of sloppy moments in a match, but they happen in some of the best matches. You know, it happens. Not everything needs to be pristine and perfect, because if everything is pristine and perfect, like, same with songs as well, there's this thing that's called too polished. It's too clean, it's too perfect, it becomes boring. You need a little bit of roughness, you need it to sound a little bit wrong, you need an off-key note in a song, just to give it less perfection, and that gives it more perfection. It's a weird saying, it's a weird thing, but it's true. But yeah, that match was absolutely terrific. 4.25 stars. Really, go check it out. It's from 1991, 11th of January, AJW, hair vs hair. Terrific match. Won by Bull and Kyoko. Another match I watched was from 1989, Manami Toyota versus Toshiyo Yamada. Not as great as I was expecting. It started off excellently, then it slowed down considerably and didn't really hit the heights. And there was a couple of non-selling of limbs, which annoyed me a little bit. But it was weird to see Manami not in her black gear, which I'm used to, because I've not really watched much other than like mid-90s Manami. So it was odd to see her in pink here. It was still a great match. I still give it 4 stars, but it could have been a lot better. And I think they've had better matches after this. Another match I watched was from 1997. It was Arja and Kyoko versus Atsuko, Mita and Mima Shimoda. I believe they're called LCO. Great tag match. It really got good in the second half. Honestly, this is a match you need to check out. I give it 4 3/4. If you've never seen this match before, go check it out. It's not as botchy as the hair vs hair match I watched. A lot more clean. Still, obviously, still not pristine, which is good, which is a good thing. That's a plus. But yeah, these four worked excellently together, and I really need to check out more LCO in the future. Final match I watched was the Rock and Roll Express versus the Midnight Express from Wrestle War 1990. Really excellent stuff, really great storytelling in the match, with everything seemed to be going wrong for the Midnight Express, and then they got back in the match, but then they couldn't get into the match, and then they did in the end. I believe they lost in the end. But yeah, really well told story throughout the match. I know people hate Jim Cornette, but he was a great performer in his heyday. He worked excellently as a heel here, trying to fight the referee, and then as soon as the referee puts up his fist to fight, he backs off and falls out the ring. Great stuff. Terrific from all four. A lot of innovative stuff, and a lot of stuff that I didn't expect to see from 1990. 4.5 stars. Definitely go check that match out if you haven't. Finally, we get on to some questions. 3 questions. One is not wrestling, and it is favourite ice cream flavour.
My favorite ice cream is choco and mint.
I think it's just the best. It is just goated. You know it's true. Match considered great that you didn't like. I had to think about this for a while, and I'm going to say from Cyberfest or Cyberfight this year, can't remember what it's called, Miyu Yamashita versus Yuka Sakazaki. Just didn't do it for me. They botched a lot, and they didn't really recover from it well. And I just don't think Miyu and Yuka have great chemistry in the ring. And I was still a bit annoyed that they kind of stumped Rika for this match. Like, this should have been a Rika opportunity for Miyu to win the belt off Rika. But unfortunately, Rika didn't get that spotlight, and we had to do Miyu versus Yuka again. You know, it's the TJPW version of John Cena versus Randy Orton. Final question is from Sammy. Most underrated wrestler in Stardom. Most underrated wrestler. There's going to be 2 people I see a lot of hate for, and that's Mina Shirakawa and Unagi Sayaka. I can't decide between them both. Both, are they the greatest in-ring workers of all time? No. But that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because wrestling is not just about the pure in-ring skill. It's about your charisma. It's about your character. It's about your storytelling. It's about getting me to want to watch you. A good wrestler will have a good match. A great wrestler will make you come back and want to watch more. And that's what Unagi and Mina do. That is what they do. They make me want to watch more. So therefore they are great wrestlers to me, because they make me want to watch. Yes, you can do all the technical stuff you want, but if I don't want to watch you the next week, then you're not a great wrestler. You can do all the technical stuff right. You know, look at a Lance Storm. Does all the technical stuff right, but he's not a great wrestler because I would not care to see him the next week. If he was there, like, okay, cool. If he wasn't, I wouldn't care. Because he just doesn't have the charisma. But Mina and Unagi do have it. They have that it factor. They have the charisma, the character, the storytelling. Everything you want to be able to watch a match and watch them grow as performers. And they are improving in the ring. And they do try new stuff. And they're unique. And they do new moves every match. They're always learning and they keep it fresh and exciting. And they bring energy. And they seem happy performing. And that's what I love. And that's why Cosmic Angels are great. And why Mina and Unagi are both goated. Also, Unagi is a drip queen as well. So I think that about wraps everything up. Yeah. So, thank you for listening. Like, comment, share, subscribe, all that stuff. I'll leave some links in the description for some streaming services like Stardom, TJPW and AWG that you should check out. Also, stan Marika Kobashi, stan Misa Matsui, stan Senna, stan Waka, stan Julia, stan all those people, stan Cosmic Angels. Arrivederci.